And in the last video we covered making a propeller that I think turned out alright. Why don't we go into making the tails and the tail sections. For that I want to reference my XY plane. That's going to be my top plane. And actually I'll just make a sketch on it because I believe it lies on the plane that we want our tails to be. So XY plane, sketch, and here in our top view you can see the orientation that we have. So I'm going to create a line, and that would go to about our tangent point. And I'm going to do the same here. That goes to about our tangent point. I like where those lie, so maybe I'll just use a vertical relation and lock that and lock that. And at least, well, I can lock these as well. And we should be fully constrained. I'm going to do a 4-point spline. Right, 4 points. And we're going to make these vertical with the V key. I'm going to take this point and make it coincident on this line. And same here. Coincident. And now I simply drag one of the 2 points to be what appears to be the best fit, and I believe that that would be it. If we want to, we can add in a horizontal. I'm going to cut my view so I can see the sketch that I'm about to do here. There we go. We're going to make these parallel, and I'll have this run straight up the center, so vertical to the origin. And then we're going to come over here and add parallel, and I think we'll be fully constrained. Perfect. So we're going to close that, and let's do a pad. I want to say symmetric to plane, I want to do a 4-point B-spline, and this time I'm probably going to have to maneuver those individually. I probably won't be able to use a horizontal constraint. So we'll use a coincident constraint between that point and that line. We'll select this line and this point. Coincident. And I think that's about right. I'm going to connect these with a line here. Close and pad. I'm going to go actually symmetric to plane. 0.5. I think that's the same as the tails. And there we have it. Next, we can do the canopy. And I think that would be nice because I think once we do the canopy, it completes the plane, and then we just have to work on the arms. I have this down here as a bomb. I think they actually use it as a fuel tank, but hey, it looks cool with the fins on it no matter what. So I'll go on to another plane, the XY plane, and we're going to create a datum plane off of that. We want to ask ourselves, how deep do we want the cockpit to go? And if I bring this up, I'm going to take some artistic liberties because I think as pictured the cockpit is too small, or the canopy, whatever you want to refer to it as. And so I'm going to go 12 millimeters. And I'm going to create a sketch on this plane, and let's import this edge as kind of a center line for reference. I'm going to cut my plane. I'm going to create two lines. Right, we're going to make them equal length, and we're going to make them horizontal at one end. Now, I'm going to wireframe. I'm going to put them about where these lines belong, right? And add in a sketch point that's coincident there and do a symmetric relation. There's our symmetric relation. So now our lines are going to be symmetrical, but we need to add a vertical. Control Z, Control Z. We need to make sure that this is vertical to that. There we go. And that's about where we want them. And we're going to make sure that these lines are equal as well. There we go, equal. And we're going to leave that be for now. I'm going to hide my datum plane. We're going to do a sketch now on the YZ plane to construct this canopy. And I'm again going to take some artistic liberties because I think the canopy is too small. First thing I'll do is import this edge. I'm going to make a 3-point arc. And that's probably a more appropriate size canopy from the side view at least. We're going to say A and create an angle relation. 135, I get, well, we're going to Control Z that. I really like the angle that I'm looking at, so Shift V, highlight this point, Shift V, it's going to be 24 millimeters. Shift R will give that a radius of 21. Okay, that's probably all we need. I'm going to close that. Now I'm going to go back and edit my other sketch. Actually, that should be all right. Maybe I will edit this sketch to come down a hair, about right there. Next, I want to take myself off of wireframe, and we'll go to as is. And yeah, I don't see my sketch being outside of the body of the plane. So that's exactly what we want. Next, I want to go back into wireframe. Alright, next let's highlight the ZY plane and create a datum plane that's going to be offset by 3 millimeters, and again highlight the ZY plane, create a datum plane. We're going to offset it by -3 millimeters. So we have these two planes that are offset from the center. We're going to select one and create a sketch. Do an edge import, and that seems to block everything, so I'm going to hide my two datum planes. We're going to edge import there and there. All right, we're going to create a line, 3-point arc. I'm going to use the E key to make them equal. And now tasks close on data plane 15. I'm going to create the same edge import. And we're going to make that equal and close. So let's make the center sketch hidden, because that's only going to be for reference. Now I can head on over. Well, there is one snafu, and that is these lines are on the same side. So for sketch 20, I think I'm going to have to make these for reference in retrospect, and highlight datum plane 13, create another sketch, and redo my line of symmetry to make sure that, let's see, I'll edge import these. We'll make sure that these are separate sketches. And to do that, I'm trying to think about an easy way. I'm going to create 3 sketch points. I'm going to create 2 lines, 1 and 2 vertical. We're going to make these equal. In fact, I only need 1 sketch point. And make this horizontal. We'll use a symmetry constraint here. And I'm going to make my sketch point vertical. Alright, now I can head on over to the part workbench. Utility to loft. So sketch 20, sketch 22, to sketch 23, to sketch 24. We're going to create solid, and OK. Now if I change the view or draw style to as is, we have a much larger canopy that appears to be a bit more realistic as to what the canopy should have been. Now what we've created, of course, is just a surface, so we're going to make that solid a little bit later. As for now, I think, well, I might as well, we're only like 10 or 15 minutes in, so I'll work to make this a solid real quick but then we'll finish it in a later video. So our XY plane is our what we think of as our top plane. So I can go on the, if I go on the sketcher, create a sketch on the XY plane, and I can wireframe so I can see my surface a little bit better. And I'm going to hide my top view so I can really see my surface. And let's do an edge import. This will probably import as a spline. This is the edge or edges of our surface. And we don't have to be rocket scientists doing this. But I want to create, maybe a 3-point spline could do this. Looks like we'll need a 4-point spline actually. We're making these vertical, of course. We just want to hug the inside, and then I'm going to choose polyline. I'm not sure that snapped onto anything, and I might as well make this horizontal as well as this. Okay, polyline. Alright, we're just tracing the inside, leaving a little bit of a gap. And from the, I guess I can move it over a little bit over here too. And if you want it to be symmetrical, it would probably be advisable to add in a horizontal dimension. Let's go with 50. And 50, and we can do a vertical. There you go. So that's going to be pretty good for what we're trying to do. If I don't already, I'm going to add a horizontal constraint here. That'll be good. Now we're going to go part. Close. With the sketch highlighted down here, we can say part extrude. Let's give this something tall, like 30. Perfect. Now, if I take this back to as is, I can hide my body here with the spacebar, of course. And with the part, I can choose slice apart. Oh, but of course I have to choose my things first. This body to be, whoop, I want to choose this body to be sliced with this tool, and we click slice apart. From here, we're given the two slices that are surfaces cut in the history tree. I'm going to delete one, and the surface is consumed. So that is now our canopy, and I can choose to show my plane again. Now, oh, and I might need to show my pad. There we go, there's our tail. So now I'm going to need to fuse this canopy to this body in a later step. I don't want the fusion to mess up any future additions I make to this body. But that is the gist of getting this in FreeCAD. At least one way of making a canopy. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.